The standard that I chose to dive deeper into is Standard 2, which is on peoples of the nation and the world. I decided to compare and analyze this standard in 1st through 3rd grade. The content standard for 2 is that students will understand the diversity and commonality, human interdependence, and global cooperation of the people of Maryland, the United States, and the world through a multicultural and a historic perspective. To dive deeper, I decided to focus more on Standard 2A, 1A for each grade. 2 means the content standard, which was previously said and is the same for each grade. A breaks it down more. A talks about how students should be able to understand elements of culture. This is also the same through each grade. 1 talks about how students will be able to achieve A. Regarding this standard, 1st grade should be able to observe and describe ways people of different cultural backgrounds meet human needs and contribute to the community. 2nd grade should be able to analyze elements of 2 different cultures and how each meets their human needs and contributes to the community. 3rd grade should be able to analyze and describe elements of cultural setting. The 2nd A in this standard shows how students will complete the goal. In 1st grade, students will observe and describe ways people in their school and community meet human needs for food, clothing, and shelter. In 2nd grade, students will use fiction and nonfiction to compare elements of 2 different cultures and how they meet their human needs. And lastly, in 3rd grade, students will use fiction and nonfiction to compare the elements of several cultures and how they meet their human needs. There are multiple higher order thinking skills students will need to meet Standard 2. In order for students to be able to solve problems by applying their knowledge, they need to be able to use terms learned correctly first. This is being taught in 1st grade. I saw words like use when reading the standard. This is a part of synthesizing in Bloom's taxonomy. Students are also learning how to examine in detail and break information down into parts. I saw words like explain and describe, which is also a part of the analyzing part in Bloom's taxonomy. I believe a formative assessment would be appropriate to assess students' success with this standard. I believe a project is a great way to assess students' learning on this standard. I say this because with this standard, you can tend to be more creative. I believe with this standard, students get the free range to create anything as long as it deals with culture. This is a great way to connect with your students while also seeing what they know and don't know. A pre-assessment that will work for this standard could be asking students questions to fill out what they know and don't know. Students should already be able to identify themselves as individuals as well as their family members. They should also already be able to identify similarities and differences in people's characteristics. This is something that they should know before starting this lesson or starting something on this standard. Some common vocabulary found in this standard for all 3 grades are words like cultural backgrounds, community, and culture, which is something that each grade will focus on. A resource that will help teachers teach a lesson on Standard 2 about peoples of the nation could be visiting museums. Going on field trips related to the lesson is a great way for students to make connections and connect what they are learning to actual exhibits or documents presented on the field trip. Project-based learning is a great and effective way to help students master the content in the standard. I say this because this standard wants them to connect their people and history to their personal life or to maps and stuff. Project-based learning is a wonderful way to see students' creativeness in their own learning. It also gives them more freedom, which will help them get more engaged. I believe visuals and providing examples will help students reach proficiency. Many students learn best when they see something rather than hearing it. Thank you for listening to me talk about Standard 2. Have a good rest of your day.